Okay, why? Yeah, that's right. I was trying to figure out why my video isn't showing up, even though I just tested it on something else and it worked just fine. So it's a little weird. Hey, Jesus Christ. Give me just a couple minutes here while I try and figure out what my video problem is. I just connected my video the other day and attached it to my laptop instead of the desktop that I use for doing this. Let's go back. There we go. I might have benefited from just having to restart the whole thing, but yeah, one never knows. All right, hopefully we get some folks to show up and say hi. I'm going to, I guess, Jesus Christ, that the LMAO means that you're actually an atheist? Or does it mean that you are, well, I don't think too many believers would actually do that. Hey, Doug. Hey, yeah, if you guys could all switch to Control C on Windows boxes. Occasionally have to remember that. Hey, SK. KC, hey, how's it going? I have got to remember it is Control C, Control V on the Windows box, not Alt. The joys of being, you know what? I'm not enjoying the economy right now. I don't think you guys, you folks are either. But yeah, watching our senators and Congress critters screwing the economy up is not any fun. And don't forget to subscribe and like and share and do all those fun free things that help out so much. Oh. Well, if you're in disagreement on anything, we can talk about that too. I'm not just looking for theists, but good conversations about just about anything, so. Especially while I'm trying to build a following. I won't say no to nothing. Schuma, Germany. Wow, that's quite the distance. Oh, Godless Engineer. Hey. Well, I will be living in Alabama, so that will probably be easy. Hey. G, do you want to come up? We can shoot the breeze for a bit. You, KC, and I, or however you guys want to do it. No sound. Oh, yeah. I guess I don't know why there's no sound being detected. It's driving currently. Yeah. That makes it difficult to join. Definitely don't do that. We need you around. How's life there in northern Alabama? And did I hear correctly that you're part of the folks that got furloughed? Share the screen, share the stream, like, subscribe, join my fan club, I think. Oh, thanks, Willie. Oh, that sucks. That really, really sucks. I don't know how to pronounce your name there. The person who said OML, fellow atheist. Oh, yeah, I'm in that position and have been for a couple of months, and the market is just horrible, 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 horrible for IT. Casey, are you in IT as well? I don't remember. Hey, Jamie, welcome back. Oh no, Darth Dawkins. Ah. But are you really an engineer if you're not a software engineer, because software eats the world? Chasing Enigmas, hello. No, Darth, I'm bored by you. I don't find anything you say entertaining. I presume I'm God. I mean, if you're going to do presuppositions, let's do some real ones. Oh, you manage the software engineers. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Darth Darkins. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Really? I kind of know who John Madden is, but I don't follow. I know he's some sort of sports ball guy. I just don't know which version of sports ball. Oh, Love Vessel is actually has a funnier response than anything Darth Dawkins has ever said. And by the way, Love Vessel's funniness level is 0. Yeah, sports ball. I know it was one of those. I'm not a huge sports fan at all. I'm not a sports fan at all. I'm not huge otherwise. So. Darth brought all of his little brain dead minions. No, Darth, I wouldn't. Like I said, I presuppose I'm God. You're boring. There's been several movies about Thor. He's been in some of the comic books, and the sagas with him involved in are quite interesting. Yeah, Darth, I don't. The chicken shit stuff is just, yeah, no. I mean, grow up. This is why you're boring. You don't really have anything original to say. Your insults are third grade at best. You're just on no level are you entertaining to engage with. I don't have any mods, Dumbo. Cupcake, I don't have any mods. It's just me up here doing this. Yeah, that's all you got, Darth. What do I believe? I believe in all kinds of things. I believe that there's some interesting science that just came out indicating that the expansion of the universe appears to be slowing down. I was just watching a Hank Green video talking about some potential for life on Mars to be true. So all kinds of stuff. If there was a God, would you accept them? If you could show that there was a God, I would accept that a God is true, but I wouldn't worship him because I think that's just completely stupid. So, yes, I know I already declined it. Yeah, prayer doesn't work. there's been the Templeton Foundation's research on prayer, and has been shown not to work. And the Templeton Foundation is of course, a Christian organization who were only honest enough to print their findings showed that it doesn't work. So, no, it doesn't. Actually, it doesn't. So, yeah, I agree, Chasing Ignatius. That's why he's not coming up. He's boring. So, yeah, well, worshiping a being of any kind, or just because they're powerful, is just incredibly. As if it was, I don't understand why a being needs to be worshipped that could be considered good. I just don't see anything involved in that. That just makes no sense. So, yes, Big Bang is the current best explanation for the origin of the current instantiation of the universe. But yes. Zips Upwise, he doesn't have arguments. He just presupposes God and stays to that. So my response is I presuppose I'm God, and he can't use it. He doesn't have any argument to actually disprove that. So, no, we're not. We're not designed for worship. I see no evidence of that. Yeah, better attack or more powerful than you. That could be stronger than you. I mean, would that mean that when I go swimming, I should worship sharks because they're the apex predator in the water? Unless, of course, I have the appropriate tools. So, no. See, Darth, you're just proving my point that you're a third grader who's never grown up. No, it wasn't one day because time didn't exist before the current universe, and it didn't explode; it expanded. So, yeah, Mateo, you should at least try and get some of the theory correct, rather than just straw man it. All right, I got Batman coming up. Let's see. Hopefully he's not. Hey, Batman.
What's going on?
Not much. Are you over 18? And are you over 18?
Yeah.
Okay. What God do you believe in, and what's your evidence for that God?
Abrahamic God and the Bible.
Okay. Abrahamic God doesn't do me. In the Bible? Why should I accept the Bible as anything more than a badly written piece of literature?
The fact that it's not badly. If it was a bad literature, then it went on through history.
I didn't say
Can
bad.
you give me any other
I didn't say bad literature. I said badly written.
No, badly written. Can you give me other books badly written that lasted through history and was rewritten and rewritten for others?
What does that have to do with anything?
The fact that it wasn't badly written, if you could read it, and it's very comprehensive.
I've read it twice, and it is in fact badly written. The characters are horrible.
Well,
the main character is a narcissistic asshole. So it just is not very well written. I prefer if you're going to be looking at any type of historical fiction. I would highly recommend, for instance, the Dresden Files. There's a number of other good fantasy books that have better magic systems and better supernatural explanations than the Bible.
So obviously you do care what the Bible says because you said God is a narcissistic, this and that. So obviously you do care.
Well, you could say that if you also accept that then I care about the bad guys in the Dresden Files, or Sauron or any other fictional character. Yes, you would be correct, but only to that extent.
But you aren't speaking on those characters. You're only speaking on the Bible and that God.
No, I just said I accept it as a piece of literature, no different than the Dresden Files or The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, any fantasy novel. And most of those fantasy novels are actually better.
So you have got onto a live and said, "Who cares about the Hobbit? There are no hobbits." You'll do that,
Well,
or
so
do you
the
know explain?
the problem with that is that nobody is making bad decisions based on invalid beliefs, right? Right now we have, we have so-called Christians who are choosing not to feed the poor and children, right? We have all kinds of people making really, really bad decisions because beliefs inform actions and actions have consequences. So once you have somebody using the Hobbit to excuse their bad behavior, I'd be more than happy to do that. If somebody's running around saying they're Sith and doing Sith-like things, I'll call them out too. So, again, you're not really, your arguments really aren't that strong. So, got anything else?
Well, it isn't an argument. It's just the fact that you'll never speak on anything like that because there are people that believe that in their way, just like they believe
You have people
in
that
certain
believe
things
that
that
The
they
Hobbit is
believe.
true?
No, you have people that believe they are them characters because they go a little bit loony, especially
Who?
cosplayers, especially
Cosplayers?
cosplayers. Yeah,
You have cosplayers acting
some of
like
them
they're
go
Sith? You have cosplayers acting like they're Sauron? Really? They're acting or are they actually
even
doing
even when
things?
they even no, they're not actually doing things. They feel so much strong to that character that their psyche is a little bit off, and they honestly try to play them characters as if they were really them characters,
Right.
not in a sense of
Yeah.
just putting on a front.
What's your evidence for this?
The evidence of this,
Yeah.
go to
Uh,
cosplay and see how serious they
I know
take them
I've been to
characters.
many cosplays. I am, after all, a geek and a nerd.
No,
So,
well, then you know
in
how
fact, I've
serious they
probably
take
been to
their character.
more cons than you have. So, and nowhere have I seen them actually acting anybody. Well, I haven't seen that many Saurons to be fair. I don't see too many bad guys being portrayed at any type of con or cosplay event. So again, it just seems like you're grasping at straws here, rather than trying to prove that your God exists, or give me any reason why
Mhm.
the Bible should be taken as anything more than a piece of literature. So let's get back to that topic. So what makes you think that the Bible is anything more than a piece of literature?
The fact how it's written,
How it's
it's about a
written, what does
person
that mean?
that it's written about people that lived. It's not written
Yeah,
like
it's historical
that.
fiction. Yes, it is historical fiction. Do you know who Louis L'Amour is?
No.
Louis L'Amour is probably one of the greatest Western writers of all time. Given that there aren't too many people writing Westerns today, that's probably an easy thing to say. But he wrote a book called The Walking Drum. It is historical fiction, and he wrote about real people and fictional people. Should I assume that The Walking Drum is historical?
Did he write about the truth about those people that once lived?
Yes.
Well, then it is historical. It's some of it is historical fact, and some of it is historical fiction.
Thank you. And the same thing is true of the Bible, right? Some of it is historical fact, some of it is historical fiction. So why should I take the Bible as anything more than literature?
Well, I mean, the Bible is. I don't know how you would take it any other way besides it, because it is written as literature. So I don't know how you would take it any other way, to be honest. But I
But you
don't get
give
the
it more
question.
credence than you give it all this credence as proving that some supernatural being exists. So I mean, how do you get there from a piece of historical fiction?
Based off what the Bible says and how it says it, how it speaks about people, and how
But
people.
I can point to books that do better jobs than the Bible.
Maybe so.
So again, you're not giving me anything unique about the Bible. It is literature. It was written by men, multiple different authors curated all together. There are stories about Jesus that aren't in the Bible that people don't accept as true. So again, why should I accept the Bible to be anything more than a piece of historical fiction?
The fact that you care this much to ask about whether you should
Oh,
believe
don't
it or
go
not.
there again. Whether or not what I'm willing to talk about and what I'm not willing to talk about has absolutely nothing to do with the Bible being
Yes, it
true.
does.
No, it doesn't, right?
How come you don't speak about the Torah or Quran then?
Because the Quran's not a problem here, and but it says there are no gods. Who cares what the Bible says? I could also easily say who cares what the Quran says, but whatever. What do I care what the Quran says? You got anything for that?
No, because I don't even know what the Quran says.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just
Well,
saying.
there you go. So let's go back to why should I take the Bible as anything more than a badly written piece of literature?
What's your choice? I don't know how you feel about. I mean, it's up
Oh,
to
so
you how
you
you want
don't
to
you
feel.
don't have a reason for your belief.
A reason for my belief? No, I said my reason. What I read in the Bible.
Which right. Oh, but just because you read it in the Bible doesn't make it true.
No, I never said that. I just made my belief. That's where my belief came from. I didn't say I made it true or not
So
true.
what was it about that you read in the Bible that you said, "Oh, look, some supernatural guy in the sky exists"?
Well, maybe I don't know. Just certain things I questioned and how they were answered when I questioned them. Certain verses in the Bible, and later on, some of it being answered a chapter or two later, just in a different version in a different way to better understand where they lacked in in the first chapter. That it's written
But
by
I could say that about
individual
almost any
people.
piece of I could any piece of literature you can do that, right? I
Hmm.
mean, well written literature always speaks to the human soul, and okay, it spoke to you. What is that? How does that make it true?
No, no, not that it spoke to me. The fact that each character was different written, and they wrote how they saw it, but yet they were still saved. So it's about
But
doesn't
we
matter who
have,
you
but
are,
I
where you
can
come
point
from, or who
to
you
I can
think.
point to an entire genre of fantasy, the fantasy and science fiction genre of characters who appear to be real. So should I? Does that make those books real?
Uh, so was to claim that they were real?
Well, I'm just saying, should I believe that
Are you
they're
making
real?
that?
Should
So
I
are you
believe
making a
that
claim?
anything about that in the fantasy, should I believe that any fantasy god uh, exists because the characters are well written?
So that's your claim. The fact that because the Bible people believe it to be real, then you should also believe in the Santa and stuff. Is that your claim? Because people
No,
believe in
I'm just,
the Bible,
well,
they should
no,
also
that's not my
believe.
claim. That's the example I'm using. The question I'm asking is by
Well,
your
then if that's not your
reasoning,
claim, then
but
it's an ignorant
no,
question,
please
and there's no
listen to
answer
me.
to it.
Listen to me just a moment. You said you believed because of the characters. My question to you is if the same type of things are being done in a fantasy series, should I use your reasoning to assume that anything in those fantasy series is true?
So are you making a claim that they are true or
No,
no?
I'm asking you a question.
Well, then no, because it's an ignorant question.
Using your reasoning, just because some characters in some literature say some things that you like,
Correct.
should I use that same reasoning when I read a piece of fantasy to assume that those gods exist?
I don't know why you would do that if you already know the claim was that they were not real in the first place. So why would you make a
Why
claim
should I
therefore
read
the
why
reason?
would I read the Bible assuming that any claim it makes is true?
Oh, well, that's fine. I mean, that's say you had to. I'm just saying you can't compare it to another book, and then there was no claim that it was even true in the first place. That's just ignorance.
But there's no, but again, I'm treating these two things exactly the same, and I'm wondering why I should give the Bible any credence. And you're saying, well, because you assume that it has some level of credence that a fantasy book doesn't. And I'm going, that reasoning makes no sense, right? If you start with assumptions and then you try to fit the facts to the facts to those assumptions, your reasoning is going to go horribly wrong. You're going to believe all kinds of things that are not true, and you're going to act on those beliefs and cause harm. Do you think that you should believe as many true things as possible and as few false things as possible?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so why should you start with an assumption rather than the facts?
I'm not assuming the Bible is true. I know
You
it's
just
true.
said
I
you
mean,
were.
would I?
But your
No, I'm just
objection when
not
I
assuming the
said that I
Bible is
treat
true.
the Bible the same as I do any fantasy series, You said that you're assuming the fantasy series is false, and I said, but you're assuming the Bible is true. You are making that assumption. Otherwise, you
No, the
should read
fantasies were
through it.
never a claim. No, no, wrong. Because the fantasies were never made a claim to be true. That's a lie. Because the Bible was made a historical fact. The
No, it's not.
fantasies you speak of were never. They were never
What
written down as
the
being
Bible
true.
is historical fiction. There are things in it that are true, and there are things that in it that are not true.
Like punch her in the head.
For you.
No, factually true. Factually, this is the case, right? We know we can go look at the story of Adam and Eve, throw that right out because Adam and Eve doesn't fit with science and how we know the world works. We can go look at the Tower of Babel, throw it out because that's not how languages work. We can throw the flood out because there's no science, nothing confirms the flood. We can throw the Exodus out because we know that Semitic people never lived in Egypt in those numbers, and we have the archaeological evidence for all of this, right? So why should I accept anything in the Bible as anything more than historical fiction?
Why should you? I mean, it's just a choice, and there is no why you should or shouldn't. It's your choice.
So it's just your opinion that the Bible is true.
As it is your opinion that the Bible isn't.
No, my opinion is that the Bible is historical fiction. It gets some things right and some things wrong.
Well, then I accept the things that are right in it and that are true, and there you go. That's where my belief comes
Okay,
from.
so it is not true that the story of Adam and that Genesis worked the way that it said. It is not true that the flood existed. It is not true that the Exodus happened. If none of those things are true, why would we assume that any supernatural claim is true in the Bible?
Well, I never said that's why I believe because it's supernatural. I just believe because what Jesus taught, I feel like everyone should follow.
So you believe because you like what Jesus said, this character Jesus said in the Bible.
Correct.
Okay. Other fictional characters say things that I like. Should I assume they exist?
Was it the claim that they were even ever existed?
Well, they exist in their universe, right? I mean, come on, dude. Again, you're assuming the Bible is true. You're assuming that Jesus is an actual person and not just a character. I'm making the assumption that he is a character until proven otherwise. So do you have any evidence? Do you have any evidence that Jesus is anything more than a character in a book?
A character in the book?
Yeah.
How else are you supposed to learn about people if not from written history?
So first of all, history requires a lot more evidence than what we have for Jesus Christ, which we really only have 4 books. One of which Luke actually admits that he's collecting stories, so he's not an eyewitness. The other 3 really don't appear to be eyewitnesses. They don't claim to be eyewitnesses. They're written hundreds of years after, and the people who were eyewitnesses were illiterate. So again, why should I accept the Bible as anything more than a piece of literature? You've given me no reason, and all your reasons, when I apply them to another book, you reject your own reasoning. So what you got?
No, I don't reject. My reasoning is that if you use any other fantasy, the fantasy was never made to be true in the first place. So using something we know that for a fact is not true compared to something we do not know, neither of us know, well, then that's illogical.
No, I do know that it is historical fiction. It gets some things right and some things wrong. Yes, we can go look at the Book of Daniel. Book of Daniel is generally considered by most biblical scholars to be a work of fiction. Maybe not most, but many, to be a work of fiction.
I didn't say anything about the book. I said you don't know if God, if any God exists, whether it be the Abrahamic God or any other God. You don't know.
Well, if you don't know that any God exists, then why are you a Christian?
Because that's the religion I chose.
So you just arbitrarily chose a religion because some character in a book said things you liked?
No. I read some of the other, like, I read some of the Quran. I don't know all the Quran, but I didn't care for what it said. Just the thing with
again, we come back to you like things in the Bible, didn't like things in the Quran, therefore God is true.
Well, no, also that it just helped me. It helped me. Reading it helped me.
Yeah, and
If it
I can tell you right now that reading Dune helped me quite a bit too. In fact, one of the litany against fear from the Bene Gesserit in Dune is one of my favorite phrases. So just because it helps you doesn't mean it's true.
maybe not, but I choose to
Okay.
accept it because of what it's done for me.
So it's all of this is just your opinion.
Anecdotal experiences, yes.
Is the pearl of anecdote data?
Well, if you test prayer, when you don't, some days you don't pray, some days you do pray, and see how
Then
it
how do you
goes.
explain the Templeton Foundation's study on prayer showing absolutely no effect? And the
Well,
Templeton
how long did
Foundation,
you
by
do
the
the
way, is
study
a
for?
Christian organization. They're rather upset about that. But again, it shows that prayer, intercessory prayer,
How
has no
long?
effect.
How long was the study for?
It is. You go look on their website and go look at the study.
Okay,
The
so
study shows
I did the study.
zero effect on medical outcomes. So,
Okay, so I didn't believe in God and to Abraham God until I was 16 through, like I said, through prayer, through certain things, and it wasn't until I was 16 through it all that certain things were answered, things that just things that happened that I couldn't explain. So that's why I believe in God.
okay, so things that happen that you can't explain is basically I don't know, therefore God. Is that a good reason to believe in
Yeah.
something?
Well, if something is something that's telling me about someone and the thing that I think is going to happen to them happens, well then, yes, I will keep it as something God gave me a gift to know when certain things are going to happen, like a
So,
prophecy. I just don't speak on them. Well, I speak
what
on them. You know what I mean?
prophecy about you was in the Bible that came true?
No, I didn't say in the Bible. I didn't say anything about the Bible. I said things that happened, things that I saw in my life that made me believe in God. I didn't
Like
say
what?
things that happened in the Bible.
Well, you
Just
mentioned the
certain
word
people.
prophecy. But anyway,
Yes, yes.
what happened in your life that would convince you that a supernatural God exists?
Those things. Whatever I thought was going to happen, and when that happened, well, then that's should have
So
spoke
if
on
I
them, but didn't.
accurately predict something is going to happen, and I pray for it, and then it happens, I should believe in God.
No, no, no. You don't pray for it. It's just going to happen. It doesn't matter if you pray against it or for it. It's just what is going to
Oh,
happen.
so when I like what?
Like maybe someone, a friend or something, you know something bad's going to happen, and that bad thing happens. Instead of hitting them up, you don't, and the next day you hear about it, and then you're like, oh well, darn,
Well,
why didn't I say anything?
I'm gonna make a prediction right now that some of my friends are gonna have bad days.
No, 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 not like that. No, that they weren't going to see the next day, and of course the next day I would hear about these friends or what would happen, and they would be no longer being. But why didn't I say anything? I don't know.
So
Because in my gut,
you had some sort of quote premonition unquote that somebody was gonna die and then they died.
correct.
How do you know that that premonition was even remotely accurate and it just wasn't coincidence?
See, I thought about that too. It's like with the first one, I thought it was just a coincidence because if you saw how they drove, you kind of knowledgeably knew that they were going to unalive. But the second one, no, the friend wrecked him off the road and unalived him. So no, someone the first one, yes, I saw as a
So it sounds
coincidence. The
like you
second one,
hang out
no.
with people who drive dangerously, and so it wouldn't be that much of a stretch to assume that your friends
Well,
are
he was
probably
driving
going to end up in a
dangerously
car
because his
accident.
friend wrecked him. Oh, he was driving dangerously because his friend chose to wreck him off the road.
Well, see, the thing is, I've only been in one accident. I don't have friends who drive recklessly, so I don't expect them to have an accident. It sounds like, given you've had two people in your life have accidents, that you drive with people who are more reckless. And so I would say that that's just,
How
you
is it his fault for
realizing.
someone else? How is it his fault when his friend wrecked him off the road?
I
How is
didn't
it
say it
his
was
fault?
his fault. I said you surround yourself with people who drive dangerously. It's not an unreasonable conclusion to reach that something bad will happen to them because they drive recklessly. I don't
Not that
see
he
any
drives
reason to
recklessly.
take what
Not
I
that he
don't see
chose.
any reason to take what you say to be anything more than a logical conclusion from observing the people around you.
No, maybe the friend that chose to wreck him off the road was driving recklessly, but not him. So it's not his fault because his friend chose to wreck him off the road,
I'm not
which
saying it's
caused him to.
anybody's fault. I'm not applying a fault to anybody. I'm just saying
You
that.
said recklessly. You're saying, so saying
Yeah,
driving
because
recklessly is
I
implying
said
it's
you
their fault.
surround yourself with people who drive recklessly. So yeah, I don't see any reason to assume that you had any type of prophecy or
Okay.
premonition of anything bad
So why
happening.
was it okay? So why is it the person that was on a lie wasn't the person that was driving recklessly? For it was both the drivers that lived.
For what I'm asking, it doesn't matter whose fault the accident was. That's the problem,
I guess
right?
for you it don't. But would it? Okay, so what if saying something would have changed it? Then would that have been something? No, because then we would not have known if it would have happened or not. Because of
But you don't
what
know.
happened.
But you,
So
yeah,
then,
but you don't know that your premonition was actually true because you don't have any type of cause and effect. You don't have anything to go. Saying a vague feeling is not good enough to conclude that you knew what was going to happen before it happened. Right? If you have enough vague bad feelings, eventually something bad is going to happen, because that's just life, right? It doesn't mean that you're actually having real premonitions, right? Because one of the problems that you're going to run into, if you heard the phrase, the mind has a tendency to count the hits and ignore the misses.
no, I haven't.
Okay, so there is a phenomenon that our brains do as humans, where we have a tendency to count the hits and ignore the misses. And people who, fraudsters, and have you ever seen the movie Now You See Me, Now You Don't? Or no,
Yeah.
it's Now You See Me. Okay, so the guy who's the mentalist, you notice how he's just going through words until he gets a reaction, and then the person reacts to him getting it right. They ignore all the times that he missed and are paying attention to the one thing he got right. We do that all the time. That isn't something they made up. That isn't a phenomenon they made up for the movie. That's a phenomenon that happens to us all the time. So what you would have to do in order to prove that your premonitions are even remotely correct is pay attention to every premonition, write it down, and then see what the actual hits and misses are. And I will bet you that you miss more than you hit. And the only reason that you remember those two hits is because something bad happened.
No, only because in a
Yes.
random night,
Yes.
or a random time, I thought about him. There was no reason to think because you say I hang. No, I didn't hang around him outside of school.
Again,
So no, I didn't know
that doesn't change the fact of what I just asked you, which is, or told you, the only way to prove that your premonitions are true is to prove that you have more hits than misses on your premonitions. The only two premonitions you appear to remember are the two that had something bad happen, and then you're assuming that your premonitions were true. But you don't know how many premonitions you have ignored.
Yeah, no, none of them.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah,
No,
I'm sure that's not the case, because again, we have there's a mental phenomenon that you are not paying any attention to, and that you have to pay attention to in order to claim that your premonitions are even remotely
If you
true.
talk, yes, I've talked to enough people to. If you get them alone, they'll open up. You can tell where their life is going to go based on how they talk. There was no premonition for them. As long as you told them if the right thing, they pretty much could do it, and they would do it. As long as you told them right and correctly.
Again, you're not demonstrating that you are counting the misses and the hits, and that's what you have to do.
Some of them are hits or misses. Some of them you can't help.
Right.
What does that matter?
Again, what's the mental phenomenon we're talking about?
The phenomenon of knowing where someone's telling someone the right path.
We're talking about the brain's phenomena of counting the hits and ignoring the misses, because that's what I think you're doing. You're paying attention to the only true premonitions that you think came true, because bad things happen and that imprinted on your brain, and now you've assumed based on that.
Because everything I don't take as a, if you want to add up like
what is not that like prophecy, because I talked to a few people and you could tell where their life was. No, I don't. I take that as just a coincidence because you get to know them and talk to them. I can't take that as a. So I take them two as
Right. So
differently because it
you're
wasn't.
right. So you're only counting the hits. You're ignoring the misses. You can't ignore the
No,
misses.
they were
If you're
missing.
going to
They were missing.
claim that your premonitions are true, you can't ignore the misses, because you need to know how many times you get it wrong, and you have to know how many times you get it right, and you also have to know what the odds are, right? The only way to that's it. You just haven't given me any reason to accept that the Bible is true. You haven't given me any good reason to accept that you have accurate premonitions. And I've got someone else who wants to come on up. So we're going to end it there.
All right.
Good luck. Hey, Brando. You're spinning and there you go. How's it going? Brando, are you over 18? Brando, are you alive? Are you here? Brando going once. Brando going twice. 3 times. He's out of here. All right. Brando, I couldn't hear you. I don't know if you could hear me. But if you do want to come back up, try it again. All right. Anybody else want to come up? By the way, thank you folks for sharing. Those of you who have, do appreciate it. Let's see what my chat's been up to, because I don't have moderators, so I don't know if anybody's being obnoxious or not. Even so, cold reading, not premonition. So Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I think it's the name of the movie. Has some really good stuff in it. But if you really want to see what people can do, I highly recommend the original Leverage series. They do a really, really good job of showing you how to manipulate people really, really easily. And they even have one of their episodes on one of them faking being a psychic. It's actually really, really good. Yeah, and I say the same thing every time somebody mods me. I'm always surprised by it. But yeah, no, I right now I don't have my chat just isn't busy enough to require mods. And I'm not quite in a regular time frame to have mods volunteer, know when they need to be there and stuff like that. So, but I appreciate that. If my chat gets busier, I will take you up on your ability to abuse your power. Yeah, so Man 3 responds to you, then why does the dollar say, "In God We Trust"? That was because of the communist scare. The official motto of the United States up until the 50s was "E pluribus unum," out of many, one. And I think that is much better than "In God We Trust" by a long shot. And that's something we need to remember. Scene, I think you're an atheist, and I wouldn't mind having you come up and have a conversation. But if whoever you're talking to wants to have a conversation as well, that would be cool to have them come on up and join the live. Okay, Superhuman, thanks for following. And thank you for liking the live. If the folks could share it too, that would help. We get some more folks, especially to Christians. Thanks, Superhuman. I try to blow as much air as I can. I amuse me, and as long as I amuse me, I don't mind if I don't amuse anybody else. You believe a lot of things that never happened. That is not a good thing. Well, unless, of course, you're talking about fiction and you're talking about a fictional universe in universe, so to speak, then I suppose that's okay. Forrest is awesome. I learn something every time I see him. So, I don't know who's arguing with Sun, who appears to be who said he was they are in the process of leaving. I don't know if they are, or who Sun is arguing with. But if that individual wants to come on up, that's fine. And if anybody else wants to come on up, conversations are better than me monologuing. I can monologue. Dave, if it wasn't for God, none of us would be here. That's a claim. Which God? And how do you know that? Would love to have that conversation if you want to come on up. He is Dixie Normus. I'm assuming you mean you're the God you believe in. You are most welcome, Superhuman. It's always good to hear that we were helpful in helping people figure things out for themselves. Yeah, actually, Parker, on that metal rivets thing, I was right and wrong. They did, in fact, use metal rivets, and they did, in fact, do exactly what I assumed they did. So, yeah, I learned something. Host said which name? Dixie Normus? Oh, yeah. I'm not 12 anymore, so I miss a lot of those. Not that I don't find them humorous, but yeah, I miss a lot of those because I'm not 12. Now, when I was 12, I'd have caught that. So. But yeah, the arc is an interesting problem. One of the things that nobody talks about when I was learning to sail, that we did talk about while I was learning to sail a boat, is what are now called storm tactics. How do you deal with storms in a boat? And we know from yeah, Fen, I agree. So what? The Quran has two. It's just the Muslims did a better job of removing all of the changes, but doesn't mean that Islam is true either. Well, the animal feces isn't the problem with the ark. It is a problem with the ark. It's not the one that I like. Storm tactics is how you deal with storms and waves, because you've got to deal with wind and wave. And there have been two storms in the last century where we actually have been able to collect data on a large number of boats using a wide variety of storm tactics. And nobody set out to do this, but basically, if you have a boat that doesn't have power to keep it either bow on or stern on to the waves, it will eventually turn so that it is parallel to the waves, and then it will float in the troughs. And once the waves get to a height that is equal to, in this case, the beam, the width of the boat. So if the width of the boat is 15 feet, once you get to 15-foot waves, you start running a risk of turning over, of capsizing. And it's not exact. If the waves are cresting, and yes, you can have cresting waves or breaking waves, without, in the middle of the ocean where it's 1,000 feet deep, given the right circumstances. So, and if they're cresting waves, you're definitely in danger of capsizing. And the truth is too, if you're bow on and you're a 30-foot vessel, 30-foot long vessel, length overall, or length of the waterline, really, I think is probably the one. Once you get to 30-foot waves, you're in danger of what's they call that pitch pulling, when you capsize over the stern or capsize over the bow. And the Ark, of course, has no power, so it's going to do this. And once you get to 30-foot waves, they're going to start rolling you're going to start capsizing, running that risk. And the bigger the wave and the more the wind, they're going to capsize. And what we know is that at some point, according to the story, water covers everything. So what happens when wind is unobstructed running around the world? There's only one place that we really know that, and that is off the southern tip of South America. Drake's Passage is down there, but that tiny section of water from South America to Antarctica, modern sailors don't like going there. A U.S. Navy supercarrier, when given the opportunity to choose to go through to round the Cape Horn, chose to take Drake's Passage and avoid it. So it's just a pain in the neck to go through there, even in modern ships. Now, modern sailors in 40-foot, 50-foot, 30-foot boats do it, but it's not a good passage. And of course, they are sailboats or motorboats, power boats, and so they can go straight into the waves. And the reason why that is one of the most dangerous sections of ocean is because it's the only place on the planet where the winds can run unobstructed all the way around the planet. So that's a problem. So 30-foot waves, 40-foot, 50-foot waves would be certainly possible. And so not only do you have to feed the animals, clean up all the mess, you're also going to have to deal with seasick animals. You're going to have to deal with terrified animals. And then you're probably going to roll over and drown anyway. So it's just not a good scene. So, but if anyone wants to come up and have a conversation, try and convince me that your God exists, that would be awesome. Or I can just talk about whatever comes to mind. Well, if you're going to appeal to the supernatural, okay, well, why not just appeal to the supernatural to begin with, right? Why flood the earth if you want to kill everybody? If you have the supernatural ability to do that, you also have the supernatural ability to Thanos snap the people you don't like out of existence. So, yeah. So Christina Carl, it's really, really easy to prove there is no God. First of all, the triomni God that most Christians believe in, the all-powerful, all-knowing, all-good God, cannot exist if evil exists. I don't care how you define evil. Then that God is logically impossible. And evil does exist. Most Christians accept that. So that God is logically impossible. Any other God concept does not fit with how we know the universe works. And there is no place for him or them to exist within the universe as we know it. Therefore, no God exists. So, Christian Carl, if you want to come up and talk about it, please do. Yeah, Genesis is problematic. The flood story is problematic. It's all that. But anyway, Christian Carl, why don't you come on? I could invite you, or you could invite yourself. Come on up and have a conversation. Calling Christian Carl. That's two. Yeah, the guy to drown every baby is good. That's kind of the problem, right? Is that you have God has one set of morals and humans have another. It makes no sense, especially if you're going to claim that morals are objective. It means basically there are two universes, one that God lives in, one that we live in. Christian Carl, do you want to come up? Let's have a conversation. I'm fairly friendly. Okay, let's keep the keyboard warriors and out of the nonsense to a minimum. I mean, yeah, I kind of made fun of, Darth Dawkins, but why not? He's kind of the exception to the rule. But is that really true, Normus? Do we have to know what evil is in order to know what justice is? I don't think we do. We know what justice is and not worry about whether or not, not have any idea whether evil exists, but yeah, I agree. Normus, are you a believer or are you an atheist? I don't know. Hey, Normus, why don't you come on up and we can talk about this because this is mildly interesting. Oh, Christian Carl, you're still here. I'll still call on you to come on up. Do you want me to invite you? Okay. Do you want to come up and talk about that, Normus? Yeah, and Christian Carl, if you want to come up and talk about my response to you, I'm more than happy to do that. I get on AXP whenever they schedule me. I'm not in charge of scheduling, so. And of course, this next 2 months is going to be a fun time because it's all going to be short. Normus, why bow to anybody or anything? That makes no sense. Normus, do you want to come up? Should I invite you? Otherwise, it's just, me talking to chat. I think somebody earlier said that Adam and Eve proves evolution, and no, what proves evolution is actual evidence. Evolution being the change in allele frequency over time in a population, or as Forrest likes to say, the change in inheritable characteristics, which is what an allele is. Yeah, it proves it didn't happen. because we can see in DNA when a population gets down to a very, very few members, and we can see that actually happening. So, and we don't see that in the human DNA. Oh, you're working. Okay. Wait. Normus, you're not working if you're chatting here. No, I get it. I'm just giving you a hard time. So, Christian Carl, why don't you come on up? I don't know why I can't find the thing that I'm looking for up here. Anyway. Hey, Anton. Oh, Normus, please tell me you're joking. Tell me you're just trolling and you don't really think that's the case. So evolution does not say that just because part of a population becomes a different species doesn't mean the original species stops existing. Also, it's humans and chimps have the same ancestor. We did not evolve from chimps. We evolved from the same ancestor. So I hope you're... Yeah, I don't know. I always hope people are joking because I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Rick Ernest, who is... Yeah, evolution is not adaptation. And if you're trying to say that the change in allele frequency over time in a population is microevolution, then you need to explain what the mechanism is for macroevolution, and you can't appear to God. Yeah, I mean, it would depend on how much of a Christian they are and whether they respect each other's boundaries, but why couldn't they? And I would assume they have. So, yeah. Well, there's also the interesting case of what are now called ring species. So a lizard came down, lizard population was migrating and migrated around a lake. And by the time they finished getting back to their starting point, the populations did, the two populations that met couldn't breed, but they could breed with populations the other direction. So, yeah. There is zero. Well, I think it would be more accurate to say, drop and plops, that that we have found no firsthand first century accounts of zeroth century. When I say first, 0th century accounts of Jesus in the Roman era. That would probably be more accurate. And just because we haven't found it, we're making an argument from silence. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think the fact that we haven't found it speaks volumes. And even if we did find it, it doesn't mean that it's passed down or hearsay. So, Normus, how many small changes to a species do you need before they add up to a large enough change for you to consider it to be macroevolution? Yeah, dropping plops. I'm just picking nits because nobody's up here to talk to me, so I get to make conversation with myself. Yeah, and if there's no environmental pressure for an animal to change, then they won't, which is why we don't see sharks evolving much more than they have. So, yeah, Norm, is basically if you're going to deny that evolution is true, you have to deny genes exist. You just can't get around it. And then back on the would atheist marry a Christian? I knew couples who one of them is they both started as Christian, one became an atheist, and they're still quite happily married. They just respect each other's boundaries. I did not know that, but I don't think that it really changes the fact that sharks themselves haven't necessarily evolved in a while. That is interesting. Because that's what I've always heard. Lately? And, you know, that's alive today? Not really. Most of the Christians that I know right now are Trump supporters, and it's hard to have any respect for them because of that. I used to think a little bit of there's a Christian apologist, Craig, William Led Craig, until he said we have to lower our bar to believe in God. And then I was just like, oh, he stopped being respectable at that point. Hey, Lathe of Heaven. Yeah, Tuesday seems to have really riled people up. I think that the MAGA folk realizes they're in trouble. Heck, when Marjorie Taylor Greene starts speaking rationally, you know something weird's happened. I was reading something, I haven't confirmed it, that said she's leaving MAGA, which, you know, is kind of amazing. I briefly heard her on YouTube. I don't know if she was on The View or what she was on. She was on a talk program of some kind, saying that she has a problem with the Epstein files not being released. And she's on the side of women. I was just like, what universe are we living in when we get to agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene? So yeah, Green Angle, I agree with you. Christian Carl, all of that. Why don't you come on up, Christian Carl? Let's have a conversation about it. King Kirk, you're coming up next. Hello, Kirk.
Yes, sir.
Hey, are you over 18?
I am.
Fantastic. And can you define your God and give me a reason to believe in it?
The Holy Ghost.
Okay.
The Holy Ghost
And?
brings peace.
And your evidence for this is what?
My own life.
So an anecdote. How did you attribute the Holy Spirit bringing peace to your own life?
By asking and receiving.
Asking who?
The Lord Jesus.
How do you know you were talking to the Lord Jesus? Did you see him?
He responds.
He
by
does.
His name. Yep.
How do you know that it was him responding?
Fire shot up in your bones.
Fire shot up in my bones. Right. Sure. How do you know that happened?
Because that's what happened.
That's not an answer to the question. I said, how do you know?
Because that's what happened in my body, and it brought me peace.
If fire went into your bones, you wouldn't be alive right now, I don't think. So when you say fire went into your bones, what do you mean?
The Holy Ghost.
One word answers just aren't going to cut it, Kirk. So can you
Why
deal a little
not?
bit better?
What do you want to know?
I keep asking questions. The only thing you're giving me is one or two word answers. So how do you know that fire went into your bones? And what do you mean by fire?
We could call it an electrical current. We could call it a vibration. We could call it an all-consuming love. We could call it an all-consuming light. We could call
Well,
it.
all those things are incredibly different, right?
No,
Calling it an electric current is not the same thing as calling it light. It certainly isn't the same thing
it's
as
the same
calling
thing.
it love. So
It's all the
none of what
same.
you're saying makes any sense.
It's all the same.
It's all the same, right? Because electrical phenomena is the same as love, right? How is electrical
Well,
phenomena
yeah.
the same as love?
Have you ever had little butterflies in your belly when you were in love?
Yes,
That's
but
electric,
that
is it
doesn't
not?
mean that it's not this. It's not the same thing as electricity, and that's what I asked
It's
you.
just on a
How is
smaller
electrical
scale.
current? How is electrical current the same as love?
It's a vibration. You feel love?
So love is not a vibration; it's a chemical process in the brain.
Do you feel love?
Yes.
Then
What does
you,
that have to do
that's how
with
you
it? What
feel
does
love.
that have to do with anything that we've been talking about? Where your answer to why do you believe in God
Because
is
it's a
the Holy
vibration.
Ghost, and then you've got vibrations, and you just your reasoning just seems suspect because you can't define anything in anything concrete. So what does
Why
love
does it
have
got
to
to
do
be
with anything?
concrete? Say that one more time.
Why what does love have to do with whether or not God exists?
Because that is God.
God is love.
God is love.
Okay, is it loving to drown the entire planet?
I don't know what his reasons were, or if it even really
I didn't
happened,
ask
but
what his reasons were. I asked if that was love.
I don't know if it's true or not.
Oh, you don't know. So do you think the Bible is true?
I'm sure there's missing parts.
It's not what I asked.
There's truth in it.
There's truth in it.
Truth in lots of things.
Okay, so is it an act of love to torture somebody by telling them to kill their son and then going psych at the last minute?
Is that what happened in the Bible?
Yeah. God told Abraham to sacrifice his son to him and then said, psych, no, you don't have to. Well, some biblical scholars think that the lamb showing up at the last minute was added later, and that the original story was Abraham actually sacrificing his son to God, but that's not what's in the Bible. And it's a minority of scholars as far as I know. But yeah, God actually did that. God actually, according to the Bible, flooded the entire planet, right? Is it an act of love to inflict PTSD on people who love you?
Where's the PTSD?
Well, God ordered Israelites to go to war. War causes PTSD.
I mean, he has his reasons. I don't know what it's
I'm
all
not
about.
asking about his reasons. I'm asking if that's an act of love.
Depends on what you're protecting.
Well, God's omnipotent, so it doesn't matter, right? He has the power to do whatever he wants. Why does he have to use the Israelites to go kill a bunch of people in Canaan when he could just snap his fingers and kill them all and not cause any harm to the Israelites?
It is quite complicated, isn't it?
It's not complicated. It's only complicated if you keep trying to twist the facts to fit your presuppositions. And your presupposition is that God is love. And here I am asking you about things that your God has done that clearly show that that's not an act of love.
God is love.
But he doesn't act like that. He acts in very non-loving ways.
What if it's not him?
Well, demonstrate how does an enemy of an omnipotent being exist?
Well, we know about the fall of Satan, right?
Doesn't answer the question. Please answer it. How does an omnipotent being have an enemy that is allowed to live?
free will.
Oh, free will. Right. That doesn't actually get you out of the question. That doesn't actually answer the question
Why doesn't it?
because God is omnipotent, right?
Well, free
And Satan
will
is God's enemy, and Satan's going to do all kinds of horrible things.
Well, here's the
Right.
thing. If you had a God in front of you, and then you saw Satan fall and he rebelled, and God told you that you had your agency and you had your free will, and then he destroyed that being in front of you, would you no longer have your free will?
No, I would still have free will. None of
No,
that
you wouldn't.
changes anything.
It does change everything.
No, no, you only claim it does. It doesn't change anything.
It changes everything.
No, it
If he
doesn't
was to
change
destroy
anything. If
Satan,
once I see something, once I experience something, and I accept that it is real, then I have to believe in it. But that doesn't change free will at all.
sure it does.
No, I could choose to repudiate that God and side with Satan still.
But
There's
if he
nothing stopping
destroyed
it.
Satan, there would no longer be free will.
And what do you base that on?
Exactly what I said.
No, that's the claim. How do you reason to that conclusion?
Because he's free to act. Satan is free to act.
That's not an answer to the question.
It's always the case. Go read the
No, you're not
Book of
answering the
Enoch.
question,
Go
and
read.
your
What
conversation.
do you mean?
I'm getting tired of these 3-word sentences and the lack of ability to think. So, you have a great day. I hope you can actually have better conversations with other people than 2
I
words
don't
at a
need
time.
better
Bye
conversations.
bye.
I need better.
There we go. All right, Fen. I was going to invite you up next, but it looks like you dropped. Maybe it was accidental. Hello. Someone whose name is in a language I don't read.
Yes, it's Arabic. Magic.
Oh, Maja, how you doing?
Theistic Satanist. We're friends on Facebook, by the way.
Okay. Unfortunately, is that Arabic that your name is in, or is it something else? It's also
Yes,
very small, and my eyes are very, very bad. So,
it's Arabic. It's Arabic. So, what are you up to? What are we talking about? Did somebody?
uh, yeah, I'm looking for some sort of evidence for God, somebody who can reason a little bit longer than my previous caller did.
without upsetting the universe. So here's my question.
Okay.
If I am a careful person and I'm faced with a Pascal's wager to 4,000 gods, most of whom are ridiculous deities, like a deity for apple juice, and a deity for travelers, and a deity
Mm-hmm.
for the sun and the moon. And I go in front of the creator of this universe, if such a thing existed, and after I spit on him for the crimes that he committed,
Mm-hmm.
well, Hitchens said that line. After I spit on him, I would ask that God, why should I believe? How did you communicate with me? If the devil was able to tell me what scene I desire with what color underwear, why can't you do that? Why do you have to send me ignorant Middle Eastern peasants to tell me about what you are not? So my conversation with God would be mostly blame.
Yeah.
I really, and then I'm imagining my Christian brother or my Muslim brother standing in front of the same God that created this vast universe, and saying, "Oh yeah, you sent your son for me to be spat at and manhandled and crucified and fucked in the behind for my salvation because I'm so important." Because I'm so important, and you sent me your son to forgive my sins that I committed against you, and it's complicated, but you get the picture.
Yeah,
Imagine a God. Imagine if you're the creator. What would you say to them? I mean,
I have no idea
you-
because I
I
would
would
not
think
act the way that I would not act the way that the God of the Bible for sure, and everything I know about the God of the Quran, I would not act like any of that, right? I would actually care about the people who believed in me, and actually take care of them and do what I could to take care of them. Not necessarily just because I love them. If I had the power right now, and I had, what was the number? I think it was 300 million that Musk asked how much would it take to solve world hunger, and they said it was like 300 million, whatever it was. If I had that kind of money, that's what I would do with it. I would end world hunger, right?
he has a hundred. He has actually 1,000 times that.
Well, he does, but I forget what the number was
He has
to solve world hunger.
400
And he bought
billion.
Twitter instead, right? He bought Twitter instead. But as a God, I wouldn't do any of the things that the biblical God does. I wouldn't condone in any way, shape, or form slavery. I wouldn't make assault against women punishable by paying the husband or father a fine. It would be well, I wouldn't create creatures who would do that, right? Who would have enough respect for
Disease in
each other to
children.
never do that. Yeah.
Is cancer in children? What?
I wouldn't do that.
What is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, none of that would happen. Disease wouldn't exist if I was God. There's just no way. Because I would be a good God. I'd be as benevolent as I possibly could, and as close to omnibenevolent. So if I had that omnibenevolent characteristic, that would definitely be that. So
So I would imagine the Muslim says, "Oh, you sent me a prophet. That prophet married children, but he was good because he was sent. He gave us the Quran and everything." I do not know. I would imagine the worst hell that these people can conceive of in their brains, and I would put them in there for 5 minutes to show them how ridiculous they are. I mean, the God of Islam is so sadistic that he would burn you with your skin and then change your skin and you so you can burn again. So it understands that your feeling is in the skin and that he's gonna graft you for eternity.
yeah,
Yes.
infinite punishment for a finite crime is definitely not justice. Substituting yourself for someone else's punishment is not justice. I don't know of any country that allows that.
What's that called? Precarious redemption or something? No.
No, it's substitutionary atonement.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
That
not
called something
justice.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we were to follow the Bible and God as an example of morals, then what we would have to do is, if you got a traffic ticket and you got fined, we'd also have to apply that fine to your children, and then to your children's children, and basically on and on forever, because that's what God did. Whatever thing you did that was illegal, we'd have to apply to your children and all your progeny since then. And we'd have to throw in a bunch of pain and suffering on top of that as well, not just a fine. So,
And your race. One of the most racist beliefs.
yeah. Yeah.
The idea of the Hebrew peasants conceiving of the stages of closeness to God and the iniquity of man and the varying degrees that we should give of respect that we should give different people, the Kahana or the sons of Aaron being on top, and of course the Sephardim are what do they call them in Hebrew? Uh, Schwarzer Hai. No, that's Yiddish. It means that dark animal. Do not like you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm not sure what you're.
I mean, it's so racist. Their beliefs and their teachings.
Well, having a
Christian.
chosen, yeah, having a chosen people is by definition, I think, racist.
Yes.
No matter what. But real quick, everybody subscribe, share my stream, and if there are any Christians
Like
who want to come up and talk, we're just having a conversation because Christians didn't want to come up. Apparently, nobody wants to defend their faith today, or tell me why I should believe in a God. Converting me would be great. I know I'd make a lot of money. So would you. I'd give you a percentage. Could you imagine? Could you imagine the money would make if we were to go back to our religions?
what is yes? What would be
What would what?
what would be the world like? How would it be like if God just showed up and said, "Here I am. You've been wondering, so here I am." Uh,
Well, I think
I,
we could charge him with crimes against humanity.
I think the first thing would be the corporations. They would want to kill it. Before
Well,
armies come to it, the corporations would. I mean, the
they
Vatican
would
would.
try. They would definitely try. I don't think they would try and kill God. I think they would try and profit off of God.
The military
You'd
will
have.
try to control it, maybe weaponize it.
Well, sure. And the military would probably be the ones to be the most fearful because that's kind of in the military nature is to fear things that you don't really understand and to prepare to fight. So, and I say that as a military brat and a former member of the Army, the U.S. Army. So,
Yes, sir. Yeah,
yeah.
yes, sir.
But yeah, so the uncensored truth.
Weaponizing God. That's the name
Yeah.
of a book that I
Yeah.
see it.
It is, and it's something that Christians are currently doing.
They're taking my
It-
country away, man.
yeah.
And I came here. I mean, I escaped an Islamic regime that was oppressive and a family that was very Christian to come here and that was 36 years ago.
Right.
And today I would tell you that this is my home, New York City. I wouldn't live anywhere else in the world. But these Abrahamic people came and they caused 9/11 and the war that followed. When Bush started killing Iraqis, I put my papers to Melbo out of the military.
Yeah, that whole thing. I mean, you end up creating more of a problem than you end up solving when you do things like that. Sometimes. Hey, the Fenix, I appreciate you loving me at one point. I'm still on the atheist experience, but yeah. We have so many other good hosts with better credentials than mine that they'll use them. You don't watch anymore. Okay.
Remember Tracy
Yep.
and Jane, and there was a group of feminists in the atheist community of Austin that I miss really.
Yeah.
And the format doesn't exist anymore. Nobody holds a phone and calls a SIP trunk to deal with I don't know, a show. It's the format is more social media now. It's more what we're doing.
Yeah. But I mean that changed. Right, it really changed around COVID. That's when we started having hosts that didn't live in Austin the most. That's really what started it. We didn't have the ability to do remote at the time, and COVID forced us to do the remote. And yeah, so it's now on, here on TikTok, and the AXP and the nonprofits and Truth Wanted are all still on. So is Talk Heathen. They're all still on, and they'll still get callers.
How are Eric and Jamie? Are they still around? I know Eric was suffering from some depression.
Eric is in Washington State, Seattle area, I believe. And I don't know where Jamie is. I've lost track of him over the years.
Jamie went a little nuts with the, when the British invasion came and the cool kids messed up with the trans members of the community. And, it ended with Matt leaving.
No. Matt didn't leave at the end of that. That was a whole different fiasco that Matt left on.
Rationality rules.
Yeah, he didn't leave over rationality rules, and yeah, that whole thing was a complete disaster. That's when I started getting more involved in the ACA myself, because I didn't like the way it was handled.
Yeah. A lot of people shied away from, like I'm telling, the feminists walked away completely.
Yeah, that was the defining moment that they walked away. But they'd been around so long anyway that and they weren't on as often as they used to be. Yeah, they just I mean, not everybody's going to stick around. Eventually, I'll stop doing it too, and the show will still go on. So,
but you see, we're teaching younger generations of people who want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to report you to the Inquisition. They actually want to hear what you have to say, which is a beautiful leap for humanity, my friend.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So the Christian, the Muslim, the Jew are standing in front of the creator of the universe, and he tells them, this is insulting. You're insulting me to be provided with so much knowledge and be so primitive and follow these ridiculous commandments. I really believe that you should be punished with your worst fears for 5 minutes, so you can see what you're imposing on others, on the woman on your life, on the person you bought and sold as or trafficked, on a lot of injustice that were done in the name of this maniacal deity.
Right.
We have three forms of the Abrahamic God. The people who chose the Abrahamic God and the Abrahamic God chose them, which are the Jews. Then we get the Christians who, I don't know, just adopted some Roman, some Greek books and invented a Trinity. It was not so far-fetched, since the Egyptians, for instance, worshipped 9 deities, and then you had the Muslims, which came to correct everything, so they cut everybody's heads. So it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know, when will we mature, and are we gonna mature enough to realize what we're holding?
It's happening. I mean, the nuns are still growing. They've slowed down a little bit. And when the world economy and things start getting bad, people start looking for any solution, and so they'll start praying, and things will get better, and they'll think it's because of their prayer, even though they have no reason to believe that. But it's still a downward spire. People not believing and stuff. The MAGA folk are definitely helping with that. So. It's a little scary right now, but it is getting better.
Homeschooling and your US dollar at work, sir.
Yeah, homeschooling should be a thing that doesn't happen. Private schools shouldn't happen. All schools should be public.
Homeschools are the reason we had thousands of felons on January 6th in the Capitol.
Well, I'm sure a number of them were coming from the school crowd. I just don't know how many of that, and whether how much of that is actually true. But yeah, I mean, homeschooling is definitely a problem. the IFPB is definitely a problem. The Christian nationalists are definitely a problem, but they're getting smaller as time goes on, and people are beginning to realize that stuff is not working. So
Yeah, more funny than holy.
yeah. Hey, Greg, as far as we atheists are concerned, that you Christians have lost the argument when you say you'll find out when you're dead. But if you would like to try to win your argument, you're more than happy to come up. Like I said, we're just up here babbling.
Yeah, we call it a popcorn discussion. We're mostly
Yeah,
so we're popping corn.
pretty much. So, Greg, do you want to come up? Yeah. Greg, like I said, I'd like to give you the opportunity to lose the argument fair and square so that you can make your threats at the end to admit that you've lost. But, come on up. Hey, Maja, I'm going to go ahead and let you go, and hopefully we can get some Christians up here. But it's been a fun conversation. Thanks for coming up.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Like-minded.
Greg, come on up. Okay, I don't see you in the list. Let me refresh the list. Still don't see you. Okay. So still looking for Christians to come on up. I was hoping Greg would come up, but it looks like he is not in the list. Lady of Heaven, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. Sharing, subscribing, sending gifts, all those things are well appreciated as I try to build my following and get more people. I need to start chopping my lives up into smaller pieces and posting them to TikTok. I post the whole thing to YouTube, so. James Albanese, thanks for liking the live. To a special reverend, okay. That'd be fun. Yeah, hopefully it's not the Bible is true because I think it's true, or the Bible is true because I feel it's true, or the Bible is true because I like what it says, none of which means it's true, none of which proves that there is a God. So, but if we don't have anybody who just wants to come on up, shall we play a... So, Lady of Heaven, are you sharing to individuals or just sharing to your wall or stream or whatever TikTok calls it? Individuals. Okay, awesome. Awesome. I guess Greg left. Did Greg leave the chat? Ah, man. He just came on to threaten us and then leave. What kind of Christian is that? What kind of Christian just comes up and makes threats and then leaves? Especially threats that, But yeah, I was watching Dr. Blitz the other day. Yeah, no hate like Christian love. Yeah, they prove it every day, don't they? How do Christians get away with thinking it's okay to get rid of SNAP benefits? It makes no sense. They're feeding the poor and the children, and that should be a core thing. They should be screaming about that, and yet they're all going, yay, he cut SNAP benefits. Can someone make that make sense to me? I would love for someone to to have someone make that make sense to me. It just doesn't. I don't even think they create. I don't think they even care about the baby before it's born. I think it's just an excuse to keep women as second-class citizens. Well, I think Mitch. I think he was created as a way to explain things that we couldn't explain because we're human beings and we like explanations. We like to know why things happen, and we're really, really good at assigning reasoning that doesn't make any sense. So, but all the other stuff just follows on from that. But then again, I tend to not want to assign people being evil unless I actually have reason to. So. But, it's kind of fun. I guess KC and Godless Engineer have gotten to wherever they were going. I would have loved to have had a conversation with them. That would have been fun. Ice Pick, welcome. I guess he left. Which is kind of a bummer. Yeah, I enjoy working with him. But he's a software engineer like me, so we think a lot alike. So one of the frustrations I think we both have is we occasionally go right down the same line and don't realize that we just use different words. Yeah. Hey, MJ, I try to be nice. I occasionally laugh when I shouldn't, but, if you're going to say things like, if evolution is true, why are there still monkeys? I am going to laugh. I'm going to try and show me that the world is flat. I'm also going to laugh. But, yeah, don't be a slavery apologist. Slavery in all of its forms are evil and wrong and should never have been allowed. And you'd think an omnibenevolent God would know that, but apparently not. So anybody want to come up and have a conversation? I'm not really here to just kind of vamp all night. I can. I have done it before. But I don't think we need to. Goblin King. Here we go. Hello, Goblin King.
Yo, what's going on here?
Yeah, not much. First, are you over 18?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. And can you define your God and give me a reason to believe in him, or tell me why I should care what the Bible says?
Well, you said there are no gods. You're not really
Yes.
referring to the Bible.
Yeah, there are no gods. Can you convince me that? Can you tell me what characteristics your God has, and convince me that a God exists?
Well, I understand that, but to make a claim that says there are no
Sure.
gods.
I can defend that claim fairly easily. So first of all, most Christians believe in the all-powerful, all-knowing, all-good God. And since evil exists, that means that God cannot logically exist. So you could have two of the three all-powerful or omni traits, but not all three. And then for any God that doesn't fit those three, the way we currently understand science, there is absolutely no way for any God to actually exist because it makes no sense. We have natural explanations for every phenomenon, and a God is not necessary for any of them.
God has been creator of the universe.
So what?
Can you prove that? Can you tell me that there? Because I mean, for the most part, I'm agnostic atheist, right? But I'm not going to claim the fact that there are no gods. In God, what we're talking about is creator of the universe, something outside of the universe, something that created the universe, something that created what is.
Yeah, I've already answered that question. You want me to answer it again?
Well, you didn't. You're referring to like a specific type of God that I'm not.
Well, that was the first thing that I said. And the second thing that I said was that no God concept fits how we know the universe works. And there's no place for God. We have natural explanations for everything. Supernatural does not seem to be there. So why would I? So
supernatural wouldn't be what I'm referring to. I'm referring to this would be a natural thing. But like what I'm saying is like we definitely don't have that. That's just incorrect. We don't have an explanation for every single thing. That I mean, we are still
what
figuring.
don't we have an explanation for?
What I would just argue, I guess, the Big Bang, why it happened. We don't have an explanation for as to why things started to expand. We don't have.
Why would I? Given that there is absolutely zero evidence for the supernatural, under what circumstances would I conclude the supernatural is a possible cause of the universe,
I'm just
of
saying
the
it's
Big Bang?
Well, if you're going to say it does not exist, there's no way it could exist. Well, I think we're just kind of closed-minded.
Well, again, you didn't respond to anything I just said, so let me try it again.
I did.
Given that the supernatural does not, that no supernatural explanation has ever supplanted a natural explanation, that there is no evidence that the supernatural exists, why would I ever conclude a supernatural cause for the universe?
So I guess you didn't hear what I said when I was talking about this being wouldn't necessarily even be supernatural because if it exists, we would call it natural. But what I'm trying to say is like,
why would I ever assume such a being exists?
Okay, cool. So I'm not saying you have to assume it does exist, but to say there is no possible way in which it could exist, or to say it does not exist, or to say there are no gods in the statement, I believe you are very much not like adhering to any other way of life other than what you directly know, which would be like something that I guess even if this were to be proven to you, you would kind of just you could use the same.
I have no reason to assume that that the phrase "outside of the universe" means anything.
Yeah.
I have no reason to assume that anything more than energy is necessary. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? So why would I assume that? What reason would I have to assume anything other than a natural cause of some kind?
You don't have to, but I'm saying a natural cause could be something in like creating something. This would be a natural thing.
So how would I even come close to coming to a conclusion that anything else is possible? Is probable, not possible, probable.
Well, you're saying probability is not the same as saying possibility. That's what I'm saying.
That's why I corrected myself from possibility to probability. Yes. So again,
I'm not talking about probability though. I'm talking about possibility.
It's possible that pigs could come flying out of my lily white backside. I'm not wearing pigsty underwear anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a worship any god or like say, but to say, we put it this way: unicorns. I don't believe unicorns exist, right? But I'm not going to say new unicorns exist. It's not possible for unicorns to exist, and that's what I'm kind of against.
Well, so unicorns could exist, not on this planet. We know that they don't exist on this planet. But they could exist on another planet, but creatures, we do know exist, and they could exist inside the universe. But again, I have no reason to believe that any mind created this universe. I have no reason to believe that anything outside of this universe makes any sense, or that the phrase outside the universe has sense. Pardon?
I agree with you up to almost everything you said. Well, I'm not talking about belief. I've already stated this. I'm talking about possibility. And if you agree that
no, I don't agree that possibility means anything. Like I said, when it comes to possibility, it's possible for pigs to come flying out of my lily white backside.
Cool. I understand. I'm telling you, do you agree it is like I don't understand why? Because I mean, I agree. It's probably like I don't know the probability of anything.
It doesn't matter. So it's not that I don't agree; it's that I don't care.
Cool. Okay. Well, then, do you agree then, or what?
No, I don't care. I don't care about possibility.
Not caring and not agreeing are not the same thing.
Well, so there are three positions one can take on any claim. You can accept it as true, you can accept it as false, or you could withhold judgment. I'm basically saying I'm withholding judgment because I don't care. I don't care what's possible. I care about what's probable.
Okay, cool, and I understand that. I'm not like claiming any god does exist. I'm saying if you're going to tell me that like it's not possible for a God to exist, I think
I'm
that's a
saying
very.
it's not probable for a God to exist.
Do you
I've corrected
agree that it
myself
is
several times.
possible?
I do occasionally say possible when I really should be saying probable, and I apologize if I've
But
confused you with that.
I'm asking you, do you believe it is possible? Like, it's a yes
I
or no
don't
question. Do
care.
you believe it is possible?
I
You're saying you
don't.
don't care. Can you just answer my question? Like, and we can just get this over with?
I don't care. I don't care what the answer is.
So you just
That is
don't
my
want
answer
to
to your
answer
question.
that?
I don't have to have a position on any
I'm not saying you have to
proposition.
have anything. I'm just asking you, as a human being talking and debating on a live
Mhm.
right now, do you believe it is possible for a God to exist? I understand you don't
I
care,
don't
but do
care.
you believe? Okay, great. Well, then have a great day, buddy.
Bye bye. Yeah. I don't care about what's possible. And it's possible that I have $1 million in the bank account. It's possible that the sun could explode tomorrow. Right? So that's the problem with possible. Probable is a whole different thing. Yeah, so probable, no. We have no, the tooth fairy, by most definitions, is supernatural. We have no reason to believe the supernatural is probable. No, I don't concede the debate. I don't engage in the debate. Whole different thing. No, I don't deny empiricism. Possible and probable are not the same thing. Oh, God's not dead? Why would you name yourself after a horrible movie with people? I can act better than those people, and I don't claim I can act. Yeah, all possible. Yeah, that's the way to put it, Roses of Reason. Every possible is possible. Do I believe everything is possible? Yes. But that's meaningless. Yeah, Mateos, if you're defending a God or you have a God that you want to try and convince me exists, please do so. I already have, Mateos. If you want to come up and have a conversation, I will do it again. Otherwise, if you're not willing to come up and have a conversation, I'm not really willing to answer it again, especially when I did it about 5-10 minutes ago. Kevin Sorbo. Oh, he did a series of movies, fantasy movies. Wish I remember what they were. I so wanted them to be good. I so wanted them to be good. But the Guy's Not Dead series is just horribly bad. Oh no, not the. You're bitter about God. No, I'm not. Are you bitter about Sauron? Gospel of Brandon? No, I didn't think so. Kull the Conqueror. Oh, I wanted that to be a good movie too. Well, I watch a lot of fantasy from like Korea and Japan and China, and they do such a better job than a lot of things that we do in terms of movies. Unless the movie comes from a book, just can't seem to do it. Mateos, come on up. You want me to invite you? I can do that. I guess I can't. I don't see him in my list of people I can invite up. So, Mateus, come on up. Mateus, I did not deny having any position on God. That's not what that conversation was about. You weren't paying attention to the conversation. I do have a position on God. It says right there in the title, there are no gods. That is my position. Care to change my mind on that? Open to the possibility. You got to come on up. That could be. I've been able to invite people who were in that situation before. So, you know, Yeah, Mateus, you also aren't listening to me. So please do so. I've already done it. I did it about 5 minutes ago, maybe no more than 10. I'm not going to do it again unless you come up and talk. It's not worth it. All I'm doing is up here vamping anyway. So come on up, Mateus. And you can invite yourself. I don't care. I don't see you to invite you. Okay, we do have Captain Stabbin.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. Real quick, are you over 18?
Yeah.
Okay. And can you define your God and give me a reason to believe in him, or try to convince me that I should care what the Bible says?
What do you mean define a god? Define a god?
Well, you believe in a God. Do you believe in a God?
Yeah, I believe in
Can you
God.
define him?
More than just God?
No. What are his attributes? What are his characteristics?
I don't know all of it. I think you would actually have to be God to know all of the God's attributes.
So how do you know there's a God if you have to be God to know God's attributes? Which means,
Because of,
when I say
logic.
attributes, we know that zebras have attributes, right? They've got 4 legs, stripes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's how we know zebras exist,
I
by
think
their
we look like
attributes.
God.
You just said that only God would know his attributes. So I don't
I
understand
didn't
how
say
you can know
that.
God.
I said
God
all
exists.
of God's attributes.
Oh, well, what are
I
some of
think
God's
we,
attributes?
I
I
think
just
we
asked
look
for
like
attributes. I
God.
didn't ask for them all. I just asked for some.
Yeah,
So
I
could you
think
give me some?
Yes, yes. I think we look like God. I think we're created in his image. I think it's a purpose to become more like God.
Okay. What's your reasoning for all of this? How do you get to that
Well,
conclusion?
logical reasoning. Nothing can't be the impetus of something.
Well, so first of all, physics says that nothing doesn't exist.
Correct?
And so therefore what you just said makes no sense.
No, it makes perfect sense because if nothing doesn't exist, it can't cause something, can it?
Well, what would stop nothing from causing something?
It's non-existence. The claim you just made 15 seconds ago.
You're still not making. Okay, so you have completely lost me in your logic here, because it makes absolutely
Okay,
no sense.
does nothing
can't
exist?
No,
Okay,
it
does nothing
not.
exist?
No, it does not.
Okay, can nothing do something?
No. Well,
I agree.
no. Actually,
I
let's
agree.
rephrase. I don't know, because there's nothing about nothing that
Wait,
would
you
stop
don't.
it
So
from doing
nothing
something.
doesn't exist, but it's possible it can do something.
So when we talk about nothing, yes, but nothing doesn't exist. So
Right. Ergo, it can't do something. Right.
what's your point?
So, well, I don't know why you were waffling a little while ago on that.
Well, because there's
We
two
agree.
types of there's 2 types of nothing. There is the
Oh,
nothing
there's
of
2
philosophy.
types.
Yes, there is the nothing of philosophy, which is the absolute nothing, and there's absolutely nothing stopping that nothing from causing anything. And then you have the nothing of physics, which is not that nothing. So yes, you have 2 different types.
Once you ascribe a tendency to nothing, guess what? It becomes something.
Not necessarily. Anyway,
Dude, yes.
what's your
Nothing
logic for
is
coming
the
to the conclusion God exists?
This is so easy, and you just admitted this a little while ago, which is weird that you're changing now. What if I ascribe something to something, it then becomes something?
What's your rationale for coming to a conclusion that God exists?
I just told you it, because nothing can't be the impetus of something.
So what?
That's the end.
Can energy be created or destroyed?
From nothing? No.
No, I didn't ask from nothing. I said, can energy be created or destroyed?
I don't know. Possibly. That's not my argument. My argument is nothing can't be the impetus of anything.
And nobody is saying that it is.
Perfect. So where do we come from? Nothing or something?
We come from energy. Energy
Which is?
E equals
Which
MC
is?
squared.
Which is?
Something, but that's not God.
Something. Yes, I agree with you.
That's
We come
not
from
God.
something. So how would we know the nature of this something?
Science.
Science? Okay, what in science would tell us the nature of this something?
Science.
Right? What in science?
Process of
Listen
science.
to the words. Listen to the words. What in science can tell us the nature of this something?
Experiments.
Science is a process, not a
I agree.
conclusion,
I
correct?
agree. That's why I said experiments. That's why
Hold
I called
on.
the process
So
of
science is a process. So when you say my answer is science, that's not an answer. That's a process.
Yes.
Is it not
the
true?
process for determining what is true.
Listen for a second. Is it not true that what you believe you know currently could be confounded by the thing you don't yet know?
Of course.
Right. So how can you base your answer on a process?
Because the process, we understand so much about science today that the
No, we
process
don't.
is true.
Science is a process. It's not a conclusion.
Yes, and science is also the body of knowledge that results from that process.
Until it can be confounded, and that changes the process.
Well, it changes the data. The process works.
No, it changes the process.
No, it changes the body
it
of
changes the
knowledge.
process. When
The
we discover
the
something in
process.
science, right, like amino acids, changed our process of science, correct?
No, it didn't. It changed the body of
Okay.
knowledge we got from
I
science.
can't anymore. I tried.
Yeah, you're somebody who doesn't understand that there's a difference between the process by which we achieve the body of knowledge and the body of knowledge is, yeah. All right. Moderator Matt, you're up next.
What's happening, man?
Hey, not much. How you doing? Are you over 18?
Oh, by far.
Okay, good. I've got the over 18 thing turned on. I just like to check so I'm not talking to kids. But are you driving?
No, I got like a headset. Does it sound bad? I can switch to
Yeah, it sounds like you're driving.
Oh. Is this better? I have the whatever boost on.
Okay.
The bass boost.
Oh, yeah, that might be boosting the some sort of wind noise going by. So, anyway.
Okay.
Do you believe in a God?
I was just gonna comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't. I was gonna comment on the last guy. My main thing was like, when it comes to scientific method and whatnot, it is a method of measuring consistency, right? And you have a hypothesis that is claiming something that is creating the consistency,
Right.
and then you measure it, right? I think when people get too lost in the weeds of like philosophical arguments, that they start diving into things that just like solipsism. Everybody lands back at solipsism.
Well, yeah.
But
of
even to
course.
get out of solipsism, it's just consistency of observation. You assume it is objective until found otherwise.
Yeah, well, you assume it's true until you have evidence otherwise. Like, there is now evidence that the expansion of the universe is actually slowing down. That just came out a couple days ago. I know Dr. Blitz was talking about it. I've seen some other science channels I follow talking about it. But that's the body of knowledge, the process by which we determine that we may be wrong about the expansion of the universe. It was the process, and now we have, information, more knowledge, and that doesn't change the process, right? It's still exactly like you said. Well, you propose a hypothesis, you propose some ways to disprove your hypothesis, and if you fail to do so, enough, you can say, yeah, this hypothesis seems to be true. You publish a paper, a bunch of other people do. The stream may be glitching. I just got a notification that my connection's not good. So yeah, and that was the problem he was having. Is science is an overloaded term. It has multiple meanings. It means the process and the body of knowledge, and he just wasn't going to get that. So
yeah, I think the underlining process. You already outlined it. You're pretty articulate. The underlining process of science is just to basically test for consistency, right? Mm-hmm. And even though the tests themselves could change, the process of making a hypothesis, creating a test that directly correlates to it, and blah blah blah, that process remains the same, right? Mm-hmm. The experiments can change, but the process of science remains the same. That's the point.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And it's such a subtle thing. I mean, and then he could also have meant by process the process by which the universe works. And again, but that didn't change the process. That changed our view of the process. So it still doesn't work for him. So.
Yeah, no, fully agree. That's all I had for you, man. I'm sorry.
No problem. I appreciate the conversation.
All right, catch you, boss.
Alrighty, bye. All right. Let's see. Anybody else want to come up? Convince me that a God actually does exist, or that I should care about what the Bible says? Oh, it got better. Yeah, no. Worship is not a thing that atheists do. So. So is there, Lathe of Heaven, who are you talking to? That may be the problem, Matt. It's $1,000 headset. It's too sensitive. Or you just had enough breeze blowing over it for it to be sensitive. Because that's what it sounded like. You had some wind noise in the background. So, but yeah. Yeah, I really should have dug into what he meant by changing the process to find out exactly where the disconnect was. But he decided to leave quickly. But yeah. And he was going off a script, so that's always fun. If he was going off a script, he could have just presented his argument. But I occasionally do the whole question thing to confirm that we're on the same page as we get through. I'm trying to shift that because I find it annoying when people do it to me, and so I should not do it to others. So anyway, share the stream, subscribe, like it, do all those good, fun things that help the algorithm find me, so we can find some more Christians. Maybe we can actually, do that whole get a reason to believe in God thing sometime. That would be kind of cool. So if you just want to come up and talk, that's good. I think talking is probably better than me just vamping. And talking about nothing or finding something to talk about. Because I have been, I've also, how long have I been on here? Oh, 2 hours. Wow. Okay. Lathe of Heaven, I have a funny moon landing denier story. So when we were actually doing lives in the library for the ACA, after the show, we would go to a restaurant to get dinner. The hosts and the crew and the audience would all go. And one of the folks in the audience was a moon landing denier. And one of the things that he said was that there is no place for the moon landing rover, the moon rover, to be in the landing module. He said it just appears out of nowhere. And so I did the Google thing, and it was the first response, the result from that Google search was the plans to where the lunar rover was stored on the lunar module, which I thought was absolutely funny. I still think it's funny to this day, which is why I tell the story. And if you're a flat earther, Ken, you need to explain how GPS works. GPS starts with the distance from the center of the Earth to the satellite. Can a Hebrew and an Israelite or vice versa? I don't understand the question. Are Hebrews and Israelites the same? Yes, I believe so. I don't know of any difference. Israelite today refers to someone who lives in Israel, and Hebrew is the religion, or Judaism, whichever. So yeah, I don't understand the question. I wish I did. A lot of things I don't understand. Steve the theorist, he made the right move. He was sounding seriously clueless. Yeah, So, and just because the body of knowledge changes over time doesn't mean your God exists. So, yeah, I don't see the USSR. And we made that argument to that guy, and he said, yes, they did because of power. And I was like, okay, so what did the Russians get, right? Because they'd have let us happen if we gave them the right thing. But he couldn't tell us what they got. He just kept saying power. So, yeah, most conspiracy theories just come down to I believe because I want to believe. Same with religion. So, folks, it would be great to have some folks coming up here. Let's have a conversation. You don't just have to be, I'm not op only right now. You don't have to be a Christian or a God believer. You can come up with an atheist. We can just have some fun talking about stuff. Or if you're a Christian, you want to talk about something else. I would rather have a conversation than not. I don't know why they couldn't. They are practically the same anyway. I mean, it also depends on the time period you're talking about, because it's an overloaded. Israelite's kind of an overloaded word. It has multiple meanings. If you mean today, Israelite's anybody who, I guess I would use Israeli for that. Yeah. Hello, Midnight. Thanks for the follow. Share the stream. Invite some folks to come on up. Lady of Heaven, I believe it was you who was doing a whole bunch of inviting to folks. I just don't seem to have shown up. Yeah, Khrushchev would definitely known for just going along with things. Like I said, Khrushchev might have let us do it if we gave him something, or promised to give him something. But, there's no evidence of that either, so that makes no sense. The whole moon landing people just don't really understand the technology at the time, which was not sufficient to do it. It would have cost more to fake it than it would to do it. And with the technology at the time, with the technology today, I think it would be you'd probably do it on your phone these days. I don't know what the Hebrew Israelite religion is. I mean, most of the time the religion that I'm familiar with is either Jewish or Hebrew or Israelite if you're talking about, something from the Bible. So I just don't know. Unless Hebrew Israelite is some, branch of Judaism. Brothers of Yahweh. Yeah, there's so many religions out there. Who can keep track of them all? Especially the Christians. And I don't know if Judaism's had quite the. I know there are a lot of secular Jews, Jews who no longer believe because, in many cases, not all, many cases because of the Holocaust, which hopefully we can avoid again. Well, folks, I've been on for about 2 hours and 15 minutes, and unless someone wants to come on up, I don't see any of our Christians that I was trying to get to come up and invited to come up. So just because there's something again does not prove that God exists. So, Doctor of Logic, PhD. We would need to know what the probability is, and since the probability is not calculable, we're safe in saying that there's no probability. Oh, loud public. Oh, bummer. Well, I see how Pickus and Son. If you guys could share, maybe invite some of your Christian friends, come on up, have a conversation, that would be awesome. Gifts are also nice. They're really, really nice. I am trying to do it every day, and I try to start around 2. Today I started around 3. There are some days that I'm currently out of work, and so I'm trying to make this work, and occasionally I get overtaken by it's just not going to work, so why bother? But it's getting better as time goes. Oh no. The 3-year-old showed back up. Oh, he left. Oh. Why? Oh, nobody enjoys 3-year-olds. Well, parents of the 3-year-olds probably do, but I think even they get tired of them. All right, well, folks, I am going to end the stream. So, you know, I call you a 3-year-old and you go and prove it. Wow, you're so smart. We'll talk to you guys later. I hope everyone has a great time. Share the stream, tell your Christian friends, and let them know I'm willing to have that conversation, and I try to be as nice as I can. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.